He had like a Bruce Jones hospital.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start this work session. As you know, our work session, is not, formal, it's actually pretty informal. We'll only do two formal things to start us, and that will be opening prayer by Counselor Brown, and I will do the Pledge of Allegiance. If you all will please stand.
Let's pray. Father, thank you so much for this wonderful town that we get to call home. Thank you for all the wonderful things you do for us all day, every day. Thank you for your patience and your love for us and your understanding. Father, I just ask this night, just like every night, that you give us the wisdom to conduct ourselves the right way, wisdom to handle the business of this wonderful place that we get to call home in a manner that you would see fit. So thank you so much for your love. Thank you for your patience, and continue to watch others. Amen.
Amen. Attention, salute, pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank y'all so much for doing that for me. At this time, we will roll into our new business discussion. We'll start with Casey Cashcheck. He's gonna come talk to us about Imagination Station and Nutrition Center update.
Hey, Council,
Good evening.
Hey, Council, good evening. How you doing?
Good evening.
So I just want to very quickly touch on the Imagination Station, the progress of that. I do have some information to share with council, so you guys can take a look at where we're at financially, and then I've got a couple small things to talk about. And then I'll very quickly roll into the Nutrition Center, which is on the council agenda tonight, and I can always answer questions later on when we get to council, the council meeting if you guys haven't had it. So I do want to share these with you real quick, and Bobby, you saw this information, I'll share it with you again. This is the most recent bank transfers. Now, there are a few more that we've taken in donation-wise Friday and Monday that haven't quite cleared our ledger yet. So you can see the columns left, those are all the ones who have graciously made donations towards the Imagination Station. You'll see down at the bottom, it says $138,000. I think Friday, we took an additional, I think 1,100, and today I got a $500 check from the Lake Walk Trailblazers. So we're making progress. Seems like every day another donation rolls in, which is great. I also want to remind council that we do have another $50,000 that's been committed that we haven't collected on. One of those is the one we had here at council a couple weeks ago, was the Tallahassee County Commission. They pledged that, but we have not received a check yet. And we've got another 25 being pledged from the Russell Foundation that hasn't come in yet, but we hope to collect on that soon. Steve Robson's working on that one.
Okay.
So if you want to go back to the bank statement, it's pretty simple. If you look at it, we've already made a $100,000 payment towards the Imagination Station. They've been Hercules has been working with us and keeping that price what they quoted us, which is great. So right now, currently, we have $38,083.79 to the bank. Now that's, of course, with a couple other things that need to be added. Also want to let you know that the mayor and I have been working with Alabama Power to apply for a grant that they have available for their Power of Good campaign. Their board of trustees meets at the beginning of every year or quarterly. So we're gonna get that grant application in, and we feel pretty confident about that. Of course, we can't count our chickens before they hatch, but $25,000 grant from Alabama Power will go a long way towards the project as well. A couple other updates. As you guys walked in tonight, if you've been around the Sportplex, you see that we've got metal signs now that have the QR codes. So folks, they're just walking around our facilities, can scan the QR code and make a payment or donation towards the Imagination Station, just like they're buying something on Amazon or Walmart or whatever. So we're definitely going to try to get that QR code out to the public. We're going to try to get it to Outlook so it can go out every week when they post things as well. So folks have an easier way, instead of having to come in person and make a donation, they can do it via their smartphones. Also want to let council know that we're having a fundraiser night on Tuesday, December the 12th at Chick-fil-A from 5:30 to 7. We're going to be there selling T-shirts. They're little fundraiser nights that they do for
Tomorrow, Tuesday?
I'm sorry?
Tomorrow, Tuesday?
December the 12th.
December
the 12th, yes, ma'am. So let your friends and family know to stop by Chick-fil-A to help us out at the Imagination Station. And we also, the committee met Friday, and we discussed how we would reach the, I guess you could call this consumer level donations, which would be folks who aren't gonna be able to do $1,000 or $2,000 donation. And we're working with a company who does laser engraving on bricks. So we thought of a way to maybe update the handprint wall, doing that via brick, doing it through laser engraving, which is a much more permanent solution than just etching. And we're still kind of working with the prices on that. Ideally, we'd like to get $100 profit off each brick, because every 10 we sell, that's another $1,000. And we really think that would go over well with the community. We're gonna wait until after the beginning of the year to start that, just because it's the holidays, people have a lot of money for all that right now, but we feel pretty confident about that. And he's not gonna do it himself, but I do just want to very quickly recognize Bobby Tackley. He's been doing a great job out on the trail. I mean, he's hit up realtors, he's gone to businesses, he's done a lot, and I know he's not going to do his own horn, so I'll do it for him, but Bobby's been very instrumental in the money we've raised so far. Same goes for Steve Ray Robinson and other members of the committee. Woody's been working really hard on it. So with that, I just want to give you guys a packet that's got some QR codes and stuff. So Bobby and I want to challenge y'all to take these out and give it to your friends, give it to business owners that you know, and solicit donations the best you can. So that's just a little challenge from Bobby and I. And that is all I have for the Imagination Station. Any questions about that? Great. I'm a little bit quick. I apologize.
That's all right, thank you.
Nutrition Center, very quick, want to touch on that one? Okay, so the Nutrition Center, you'll see this in your council package when you get to the next meeting, but Family, I'm going to say it wrong, but it's Family Worship Center. They've acquired the old Methodist building, Methodist Church that's off Church Street in between Avondale and the railroad tracks over off of, God bless her, Gomer, thank you, Bob. And they reached out to us. The auxiliary building that is next to the church is already kind of set up for food preparation and food service, because they use it on Sunday mornings for that exact purpose. So we struck a deal with them to move the nutrition center to that location temporarily. I still want to encourage council as we move forward with this to still be considering that building that we've talked about, the potential building down on Madison Street. Amanda and I have been working with the Regional Planning Commission regarding that. We've got plans out to the contractors, to the architects, so hopefully we'll hear something back from them pretty soon. But I think this is a great temporary solution. They've kind of come in the 11th hour and really helped us out. But I don't want this to be our permanent solution. I want us to keep thinking, how can we push the nutrition center to a more advantageous spot in the city? Because remember, this is 96 lunches a day, 5 days a week. So it's folks who really depend on it. And they're excited about the move. I think it's a little bit better location in terms of walking. They don't have to walk down the steps at CAT. It's right up to the door. So we're very excited about that. But if you have more questions about that, we get to the accounts, we'll be more than happy to answer.
Okay, great.
Good. Any questions for me?
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Casey. We appreciate the work. Amanda is with us today about our development update.
Did I email this to you all earlier too? So I wanted to start off first with a comprehensive plan. It's not, but it may be because it was.
Amanda, it's this one.
Oh.
When I turn it on, it goes.
It does. So I wanted to start out with comprehensive plan first. We met with Ben, Jim, and Matt a couple weeks ago, back early part of November. They came in and they and I took them around and showed them some developments and everything, see some of the neighborhoods. And you see on there, the timeline is 14 months. And that is budgeted $100,000 this year, the total project amount is $150,000. We did briefly discuss about the committee. You want to turn this one off and see if that does anything? See if you go down. We said something about sometimes the weather lined up and it on them, so. But the steering committee that we'll establish at a later date, we want to keep that small if we decide to do that, and put half community input as well. They're working on a more derivative timeline, more specific timeline for us that we will get back to y'all later date. They were trying to get something to me today, but between my Dropbox and their emails, my emails were not getting through to them, and we had some technical issues, so I will forward that to y'all at a later date. hopefully this week. The Holiday Inn Express, you can see they started grading and clearing, and that contractor has been selected. We're keeping tabs with Janet and Jay on a weekly basis and just touching base with them. Gateway, we're waiting on some hard copies. They had submitted some digital copies for development committee review, but we informed them also too that we've got to have those hard copies to move forward so that our departments can review those. Downtown water lines, I've been working with Terry on some art funding, or the city has, but we're trying to get everything technically where the mayor can sign the applications and things, but we're still hopeful for spring of 2024 to rebid that. The downtown buildings, you all awarded that. Start date is May 1st. I'll be in discussions, talks with Sarah Hickman. She is the owner of that company. The TAG grant for the sidewalk here that's going to be on this property, the mayor signed the notice of award last week. Sidewalks master plan, Drew, Alice, and myself met with Michael Rice. These are the EFS. They've only done on sidewalks and master plan for the city. What we're looking at now is going towards the high school, based on, you've got your development for the legacy, you've got your veterans home, and you have the high school. So that does look like it seems to be a good partnership there for that type of development. Planning Commission, since Councilman Chris Brown's not here, there's a subcommittee that was put together a year ago, or a little more, a little less. And what their job was to do is come up with some type of overlay for the business corridors and maybe make an amendment to the zoning ordinance, which you all will have to do that based on planning commission recommendation. So what this subcommittee is doing is they're looking at all the business corridors of the overlay of what they would like to see from facade or just overlay period when it comes to materials and things. But also too, that will include signage. Back last year, we had talked about putting some signage on 63 South and North and 22 East and West when you come into the corporate limits. This subcommittee would like to see a little bit different signage than what we had, what I've presented to them. So I'll wait for what they would like to do, and it would also have to be in compliance with whatever that overlay is that they would like to recommend to the county commission as well as council. So we may have a zoning ordinance amendment to come to you at a later date. Floodplain ordinance administration, we have been in discussions with ADECA. We've got some good contacts there. We've even talking to the guy that actually provides the course to everyone when concerning floodplain ordinance and things. We have not done an update to our ordinance since 2011. It's time that we do so. We will be going to training in January to make sure that we effectively do this and make sure that whatever we implement is correct based on what we're already doing. So I will be getting with you at a later date too to amend that, to adopt that ordinance, hopefully before the end of this year, if not the first part of January, because then once we do that, then it has to go to FEMA for clearing that. Chapter 18 of the code, this portion of the code is actually your building code, your property maintenance codes, where we adopt all that for our building officials. Jay and I have been sitting down and going through this code word by word. There's a lot of things in there that we reference that are no longer applicable to the operation. So we're going to be sitting down and inspecting and asking her to present an ordinance to you all to examine certain portions, but then we will also be amending certain portions specifically about the board of adjustment and the board of appeals. But we'll explain all that, so you will have all that coming to you later too. On the back, the condemnation process that I have talked to you all about a couple of times, this process is already in our property maintenance code and gives the authority to the building official to be able to do that, and we will run that through code enforcement and then through the building official and have multiple signatures sign off that this is okay, and before we do anything, we'll also have Larkin's input for title search. And there's $150,000 budget this year for that process. PLL, permits, licensing, and land development, the timeline there, permitting is live in term, but it's not to the public yet, and we're also using the land development portion internally, but it's not live to the public. We hope to do that next year, but before we do that, we're going to sit down with contractors and do training. But we will also be doing training internally, kind of like what we're doing in development now, is going over everything. So we've got some more things we've got to work out, but that's part of the process. I did add on number 13, it's called OpEx. What this is this is a management tool within CityWorks or Esri that we're already paying for. We would like to utilize that to be able to show contracts, consultant contracts, memorandums of understanding, development agreements, budget amount, or I'm going to use a different one as an example. What we could say is, hey, everything work done wise that we're doing, CityWorks can track, GIS, we can tie it back to the GIS, but we can also tie it to the PLL. You can tie it to that project, but you can see all the contracts, and you can also put where you are on, say that our development agreement with them is $5.5 million. We can put in there, okay, this is our balance as of this date. So that multiple department heads and employees can see where we are as a whole versus having to go ask them, and they can actually pull it up on their screen there based on information. So that'll be a really helpful tool. Development video, what we're trying to do there is you all saw Griffin, he was here, he's taking some shots and things. What we want to do there is be able to explain to the citizens, but also developers, this is the process. These are the boards that you have to go through. This is what their purpose is. But then also, too, who do you need to go to for this? Who do I need to go to for that? So hopefully explain in 10 minutes what the development process is for the city. Website, we talked about that in the past, about updating that. We got an email a couple weeks ago. The earliest they're going to be able to do the update of reformatting is going to be spring. But we are working with IT, and the reason I put this on here is because this is going to be critical to development, because we're going to create manuals and have everything possible that we can about the development process on our website and have it in a specific area. I did want to, real quick, as of October 2023, this is also based from January to October. We track our permits on an annual basis because we have to send that information in. What we have found as of October 30th, from January to October 30th, we have permitted a total job evaluation of $66,758,719.82. This amounts to $669 and some change for permitting fees. But that lets you know, we're going back to 2018, but from the total job evaluation of construction in our city on our permits, $66 million. That's good. It's really good for them. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. We will now hear a discussion about a leased property, and I think he is here. Whenever y'all got emailed a letter from Mr. Haygood.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
How are you doing? You doing okay?
Doing great. Well, I'm Jerry Haygood. I have a local business here in town. We opened up in 2021. Currently lease a property from the city on a lease purchase. Purchase agreement kicks in effect in this month. So we would like to come back to the council and ask for a lease option to purchase over a 10-year period. Open discussion. We made about $1.2 million worth of improvements in the building. We just finished all the lighting, new bathrooms, or did be completed this month. We just like to buy some more equipment, so we like to look at a lease purchase option to allow us the funding for next year to improve the building even more.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Haygood?
I've got a few questions for the mayor. I know the lease agreement, the terms on that, is that accurate, what he was saying in his email to us?
Not really, no. I think I sent y'all all a note outlining the numbers. There's approximately Mr. Hagan was wanting to use the $322,000 that's already been paid on the lease as a down payment. And there's only, $225,400 of that could be applied to the lease. That's 70% of the $80,500. That was the lease price for every 6 months. The lease says, which is a legal document he signed on 16 November 21, that says 70% of the lease price for those 4 6-month periods would be put towards the purchase price. That would be a total of $225,400. That means he would still owe us $774,600. So that $24,150, the $96,600, which was the 30% of those, that's already ours. It's ours. It can't be given back. You know, that was for us leasing the building, and the building's worth much more. We were asking $1 million for it, and at this point in time, I think that if he wants to continue to lease, then we'll draw up another lease agreement. I had notified him 2 weeks ago that the lease was coming at the end of November, and if he wanted to purchase, we need to start looking at closing. If not, then we need to develop another lease agreement, because that one will culminate on November 30th.
As far as, you know, we're not involved in the lease process after we approve it. Is the FL his part of the lease?
Two job numbers were not what we expected. Some of the operations inside the building were not approved before structural changes.
We haven't done anything structural. We put LED lights in the whole building, about $250,000 there. And then
The foundations you put over your walls, they not go down into the floor?
no, sure, they'll come up.
No, I mean, they're sitting on top of the floor.
Yes.
How many jobs do you have there?
We're currently about 18 currently inside the building. It's about $3 million revenue a year for employees, including outside sales. And we have more jobs, more outside sales and distribution. It's taken about a year to get a training program put in place. We started setting distributors up in December, so that's taking a little longer than anticipated. But we do have a contract for next year for around $28 million worth of new product going out, going to work out Georgia at affordable homes.
Okay.
So I think we've got three states that we're currently sending product to. We hope to have up to 6 to 7 next year. We just opened a new division for office and pools. So we're running out of the building, same panel, we're setting up a pool company, and that'll, of course, be more jobs.
Okay. Right, great. Any other questions?
I know I printed off the tax assessment on that building, and, you know, the county's got it appraised, and they always underappraised with $4,577,200, which tax assessment is $28.40 a square foot. So what you're asking to do is sell it to you for $6.26 a square foot, which is 75% less of tax value. And another thing I have is the city's not in the business of financing, so you want to give us the money for no interest for 10 years, and you know, if you were to go out and get interest on that, with commercial, I'm looking at, since residential rates around 7%, 8%, the commercial rate would be around 10, 11%. So you want the city to finance it for you for free for 10 years, and I just don't think that's good for the city.
Understand?
Okay. And I think your main goal is to discuss how we want to go forward with this building.
Yeah, that's the main goal, yes.
And I think I think the mayor said that he and the staff would be willing to get with you all, do that, and then that financial part will come to the council for approval. So I'm okay with that. So what I'm gonna say is, we just wanna make sure we know, you don't have to, I don't want anybody to think that come November or December 1st, we're gonna kick you out of that building. So I think that's a viable option, is for you and for us in the city as a group to get together, because we're in the business of maintaining businesses, or trying to maintain them, or keep them here in Alexander City. So I think that's the process the mayor is willing to sit down and talk about, and we're open to, as council members.
Yeah, I just want to add, we're not a liability. You know, we're taking off $80,000+ a year in power bills. from the city, we've maintained the building. We haven't been a liability, we've been a positive influence, I would think, in the building.
I mean, you definitely.
And us also.
No,
Yeah, and look, because,
You're not alone in liability for power bills. We helped you, we went way out there to help you with power bills. Did everything we could because we were getting Power County Council advantage of us too.
that's what it's counting for, that's where we work for. We want to be open for business. It takes, you start from scratch basically at this business, and the building required a lot of work. So I know that, heating and cooling was shut off basically. I remember with the chillers, all the pipe was cut and covered up underground. So, you've had to spend a lot of extra money on this building.
and we're still spending.
And you're growing. You've got more plans than just, I mean, you've already doubled your business after 2 years. So I think we can definitely come to a fair agreement for the city as far as, I mean, Bobby's right. I mean, we have to be responsible with all this, but at the same time, to bring industry and stuff in, we'll definitely, I know I am willing to work with you to come somewhere, some middle road. Because you got more irons in the fire than what you're doing at one little building. So we appreciate your interest and wanting to help us grow.
And we thank you so very much.
And one more thing, I worked in that building years ago. It's the best building that the city's got. At one time, there was 500 people working in there. I've been out there, more than once, and I hadn't seen over 5 people in that building yet. And I just feel like it's been underutilized, and we could bring somebody in here to bring some jobs to the city which we need. Now, if I went out there and there's 150 employees, I wouldn't have no problem. But as far as the maintenance, I've been in the building, I didn't see a whole lot that's been done to it, other than what was there originally. A few panels put up and this and that and other than that was it.
We appreciate you coming to us, and like I say, we'll be willing to work with you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, we appreciate you, sir. Chris Hardy and Matt Wilbanks Gas Authority.
We have 9.5 miles and a half, and Matt Wilbanks here from the Gas Authority. And I want to formally introduce you to Natural Gas Connections Regional for sure. I talked to a couple of you guys individually about it. But just know as we go through this, whether it's the cost for the EDC membership or my salary adjustment for employees, all this stuff is budgeted. And I believe this opportunity will help us retain gas customers and maybe attract some users, just like back over the time. For that, I'll turn it over to Mike.
Thanks, Chris.
I'm Mike with the Gas Authority. I appreciate your time. I just want to spend a couple minutes going through this presentation. You've got a hard copy of this, so it's maybe a little, okay, this will be pretty quick. I just wanted to spend a couple minutes talking about the service that we've got called Natural Gas Connection. You guys have a very viable gas system here. We currently work with 82 other municipal gas systems within Georgia, Florida, Alabama. We have some in Pennsylvania. We've worked with y'all here for a few years. What we want to try to do with this program is we want to try to protect your customers. There are people out there actively trying to, get rid of natural gas. You run a business here, and it's a viable business, and we want to protect that. So the goal of Natural Gas Connection, I'll just go ahead and tell you, is to keep the load that you have, to add to it, and to add new customers. I mean, Matt Wilbanks, anytime that there's, dirt being turned, good example, we're working with this Holiday Inn Express. You want to make sure that you're getting, gas equipment in there, and that's what you'll make the revenue off of that. So we wanted to just spend a couple minutes about this program. Like I said, it's called Natural Gas Connection. We currently have Natural Gas Connection deployed in 3 other areas. The closest one to y'all is in East Central Alabama. They're a gas district. So was it Goodwater, Lineville, and Ashland. And they have a showroom that they just opened up within the last year in East Central's new office space. We also have another location up in Northwest Georgia that is 4 cities, and then have another location in Southwest Georgia that is 7 municipal systems with 2 showrooms. And what I want to do now is just talk to you a little bit about what actually is Natural Gas Connection. So this is the services that, and I'm going to hit on each one of these kind of quick, but So it's appliance purchases. We figured out that people, kind of fit in one of three categories. They either want to go in somewhere and kick the tires. That's like a showroom type style experience. Some people want to get on their phone and do it like the Amazon type style where they add it to their car. Or some people want to talk on the phone. We've actually, within this natural gas connection, we've created all three. So we've got a call center in place if they want to talk to somebody on the phone about appliances. We've got, we can add it to your cart. You can actually sign up for financing, and through TransUnion within about 30 seconds, figure out if you're eligible. You can converse with a contractor to get a contractor to come over to your home and pick the time to do that. And there's even within the financing program, you can pick the terms. So the financing program that we have in place, and the financing actually is through the gas authority, but it's 0% for up to 60 months and with a total price tag of $7,500, which covers the majority of installations. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the products that we're doing. So the products that we have online for availability of, well, really we have availability of any appliances, but what we've done here is we tried to have some of the core, like space heaters, water heaters, tankless water heaters, some of the gas logs, and have that stuff in stock so people can actually come and they can get it and they can get it immediately. So, the goal of it is to be able to actually have stuff in stock. Sometimes when you go to either a big box, they've got propane but not natural gas. So we want to make sure that if somebody needs something, we have access to it. We treat your customers, if it's like a heat or water heating, we consider that an emergency item, and we want to get them back up and running as soon as possible. So we do grills, we do a lot of the hearth products, which is whether it's outdoor cooking, it's the outdoor fireplaces. We do cooktops, ranges, also have availability in this area. Be careful with this kind of tornado alley, and a lot of people, because of power outages, want availability of whole house generators. Washers and dryers, and like I said, space heaters and tankless water heaters. The on-bill financing program that I mentioned a little bit about, like I said, it's 0% financing up to $7,500 in 60 months, and that will actually go on the customer's gas bill from Alex City. So that's the way that it's deployed like that. And they have, like I said, they have the flexibility of determining whether they want 40 months versus 60. If they are trying to stay within a price range and stretch it out, they have the availability of doing that. And then the other thing is that we wanted to talk about is having a rebate program in place. Rebates, we feel like is a good thing to have in the tool belt along with the financing. So that if somebody doesn't have enough of the upfront money, we can do things to offset the cost. Because reality is natural gas, to get it installed and natural gas appliances, they're more money than electric. So we want to do something to offset that. So that's why we have a rebate program in place, and this is what we're recommending for the rebates. But we do have flexibility if you wanted to do more or less on something that, we're open to that.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sure.
What was your rebate program? What's your term limits to make that, to receive the rebate?
To actually, like if somebody puts it in to when they actually get the money?
Yes.
Well, if they finance through us, it's taken off the top, so it's immediate.
Okay.
So that's how that would work. And our goal with anything that we do is whether it's paying the contractor or paying the customers to do it, it goes through our AP pretty quick, is to get them paid as soon as possible. So a week maybe, if it was a homeowner.
All right. I have one other question before you move too much further. I guess your pricing on what you're going to be offering, is it comparable to the box office?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, so our goal is that we're going to be out there representing Alex City, and this is what we say is that NGC is Alex City is NGC, is that we're going to sell nice appliances. Our goal is to sell appliances that you're not going to have issues with. If you have issues, then you have customers that are upset, so we want to sell stuff that's reliable. Sometimes that's a little bit more expensive. The good thing is that within space heaters, tankless water heaters, is we have almost a good, better, best. So we can let the customer choose, and then, like I said, the financing will offset the upfront cost along with the rebates.
Do you do the installation and the maintenance?
We actually, what we're gonna do is we're gonna utilize local contractors. We wanna use local folks. Now, East Central, they do it a little bit different. East Central actually has employees in-house that they utilize. So they actually sell it in-house and they install it. They have local, and, you know, we're open to either one of those.
I like it local.
Yeah, I mean, we wanna use local folks,
I like that.
And then moving on to the showrooms, and if any of y'all are interested in visiting, I know Chris has been to East Central, it's just 30 minutes up the road. It's a very nice showroom. That's kind of like what we call a high-end showroom. So if you want something like that, we can help you design it. If you just want a few appliances or some point of purchase stuff, we can help you with that. So really, we have the flexibility to whatever it is that you want, whether it's a high-end like East Central, or like in Tryon, Georgia. Some of these pictures, like the top one is actually our showroom in Tryon, Georgia. It's smaller. It's in town hall, not city hall, it's in town hall. And, you know, somebody can come in there and see a good mix of the different kind of core appliances that we have. So these are actually all pictures of the showrooms we have in East Central, Moultrie, Bainbridge, Tryon, and Adairsville. And then the option that we were looking at on the I was talking about the technology side. So this is something that we spent a lot of time, money, and effort to create a technology, an online portal, I guess you could call it, so that it'd be made easier for who's going to deploy that here. We're looking at maybe using Meredith here. So if Meredith, so she can spend time, you know, talking to customers, selling, but she doesn't have to spend a lot of time doing paperwork. A lot of this stuff is done automatically. It generates its own POs. So she can input something and it'll automatically order it from one of the distributors, and then it'll get shipped either here or wherever we need it shipped. And that's why we spend a lot of time on the technology side, whether it's the call center and asset management, and that keeps track of all the inventory. It helps converse with the contractors and with the customers. And I'm going to skip through these real quick. This is just more of on the technology. And you can see this is actual stuff that, you know, you see a tracker that she can keep track of which customers are looking at doing which things. And then, like I said, it creates the purchase orders. And then something that's pretty cool that we have built into it is it's the contractor app. So the contractors that we're going to be working with actually have an app on their phone where they can accept jobs or decline them if they want to too. They can actually keep track of, they can input stuff that comes back to Meredith. Meredith knows that the job's accepted, so that and then creates the PO automatically, orders the unit if we don't have it in stock. So we want it as automated as possible. So then Meredith can be doing the other stuff that she's doing and helping with the NGC part of it. And then on the marketing, this is all included in the package that we're looking at. We've got a marketing group up in Kennesaw, Georgia, that's developing, you know, whether it's the traditional media, digital, and local. So traditional is like your bill inserts, it's point of purchase stuff, it's doing, you know, and also we do a lot of like geofencing, and whether you like it or not, we've spent a lot of time on the social media. The social media platform is something that, you know, we get a lot of traction with. You know, Kristen, who's the NGC specialist in East Central, you know, this has happened multiple times. She'll get a truckload full of whole house generators, and she'll get on Facebook Live and say, look, I've got your generators, come see me. You know, and she can help you with the installation, the purchase, the financing, and the rebates. And we want that type of stuff available for our city employees too, employees and for customers. And the next couple ones are just some examples of the bill insert. Believe it or not, in some areas, we do still get some traction on the newspaper. Mail outs are something that's very successful for us. And then on the digital marketing, these are, you know, banners and ads that we do. You know, we pay to have, you know, certain things pushed up on Google if you go search for natural gas appliances. And then there's local promotions too. We do a lot of fairs, we do a lot of festivals. We set up, I mean, this is actual, you know, one of the fairs that Amanda, the NGC specialist up in Tryon, does in Lafayette and Tryon, whether they have the railroad festivals and different things. We want to have a presence here to help promote the gas system. And then the good thing is about a lot of this is we actually are able through, Google Analytics and some of the tools that we have in place, we're able to see what works and what doesn't work. Cause, you know, we'll be able to figure out, you know, when we're spending money, but we want to know what works and is the most effective. So we'll be able to figure that out here in this area too. I'm gonna skip through this. And then the last thing, on the reports is we'll be able to show you, and we do this yearly, we can do it quarterly, we can do it semi-annually, however y'all want to see it. But, you know, when we deploy this, we'll be able to tell you exactly what is sold, you know, the revenue generated and, you know, a 12-month and a 10-year projection from that, be able to identify trends. And this is kind of what we call our dashboard. So we'll be able to tell, you know, what's selling and when, and what were the most effective. And, you know, if we need to add in additional things, we can also do that at any point in time. That's just a kind of a quick overview of natural gas connection. I know you'll ask some questions, and I appreciate that, but if there's anything else that you, let me cover off on.
Any questions?
Just big thing, those we don't compete with other
Yeah.
local businesses.
Yeah, and, I mean, with the contractors, we're going to use them local
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
businesses.
yeah. So I need distributors that may, I don't know.
We utilize local distributors too. I mean, like, a lot of the ranges, cooktops, we get it from Ferguson over in Birmingham.
Southern Pipe.
Yeah, Southern Pipe, CUI, Tri-State Distributors. So we try to utilize local folks too. And sometimes we gotta branch out because, you know, there may not be somebody in Alex City that has availability of gas logs or space heaters. But our goal is on the contractor side, our first line is to use local contractors and then try to get stuff from as close to here as possible.
Okay.
If, the customer has a contractor to install it, do they have to use your preferred contractors install, or can they use something?
Well, we're hoping that would be a preferred, but if they've got their own contractor that they want to use, that's fine.
And I guess one thing I do like the money, whether same as cash, because during the holidays, someone has somebody go out there, might not have the finance in there. And this will make it convenient for them to get back up and running heat or hot water heater.
Yeah, I mean, our, like I said, with water heaters, we consider emergency, and I would say like 24 hours, but really we want to get them up and running as quick as possible. That's why I would recommend having a good stock of tank and tankless water heaters, so that if a contractor can't get one and needs one, we got one, we can get it to them quick. And the good thing is like, you guys can utilize, we can utilize the stock up in East Central if we needed to. I mean, because the NGC here is still the same NGC that's there. So that's one of the things I like to do is that with Kristen, that's the NGC specialist, I'd like her to help train Meredith. For Meredith to go up to East Central and see how it's run there, and then for Kristen to come down here so that she can see, because Kristen is very successful at doing what she's doing up there. So she has, you know, let's say, maybe $250,000 worth of stock sitting up there. So if we needed something, we could also pull on them.
I guess one other thing, as far as the cost of the city, other than having a city employee here to manage it, and then all the supplies coming in is provided by you all, y'all get paid when it's sold, is that right?
Yeah, what we're doing is as part of the package, you guys right now are already budgeting for it. Now, if you guys wanted, if we got into this and you wanted your own NGC specialist, then we got an option for that too.
So the cost for the city would be nothing, we're already budgeting for that, but we wouldn't be
It's built into your budget.
right, we wouldn't have anything to add. Great. Any other questions?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Drew's here to talk to us about an ordinance to regulate land disturbance. We had this conversation a little bit last week. I know a lot of us got a lot of flack and comments about the 1 acre, and I think that's still going on strong. So Drew's gonna tell us what's going on and where we're at with that.
Sure. So in the last week, I've had an opportunity to meet with a couple of you guys and find some additions and alterations to this that will kind of change in the verbiage that will get it to where we're actually going for versus kind of a catch-all and bogging people down. So I think the first revision that we've got here would be to remove the police jurisdiction and make it city limits only. Once you get into the police jurisdiction, you get more rural, you get larger tracts of land, you get areas where disturbances that we're not trying to get an eye on, those happen more in the PJ than in the city limits. So the first thing would be to remove that area. The second thing we're looking at is to increase the size of disturbance that will require a permit. We think this will also aid in weeding out the cases that we're not trying to regulate here. We want to implement an appeal process. If the permit is denied for the city, by the city for some reason, it will be elevated to a multi-person panel to be reviewed, whether that be an existing panel that we have or a new one. The fourth item would be adding exemptions. This would be forestry, agriculture, this would be gardening. I think if we increase the parcel size or disturbance size, we'll catch a lot of this with the addition of exemptions. The last item would be any alteration to the ordinance will require council action. The largest thing would be, we're introducing this as a zero cost permit, and my intent is for it to stay that way, but my term will be up here one day and everybody else's will. So any kind of, if fees are to be added or any change to penalties, that would need to be through council action. That's what we have so far. I know that since, I know you guys have heard a lot about it, I've heard a lot about it. So I'm here to ask you guys what you guys think.
You know, we've got the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. We've got ADEM. We've got 811, if you want to dig. And I guess we're looking at this. APA, Agency Protection Agency. I don't see where this is really in the public interest. Give me an instance of where this would come into application. If you have any experience.
Sure. So I won't say names, but about 12 months ago, a landowner on 280 and Dadeville Highway decided that they were going to decrease the elevation of that parcel by about 20 feet. You know what I'm talking about?
I know for that.
So an offset of that was Cully Creek Road at the Dadeville Road, Cully Creek Road intersection was getting over tops just about any time it would rain about a quarter of an inch. You guys remember that?
Still.
Do you remember that, Jimmy?
I remember.
You remember water getting across the road?
Oh, yeah.
That's because a guy came in and decided to level off those 20 acres with no provision, no consideration on how that might alter the water flow, and then have it overtopping one of our roads every time it sprinkles a little bit. That's a major safety issue. But beyond that, we didn't have any kind of enforcement tool.
Well, you still got ADEM, EPA, you got two. That's the point I don't understand. This is overreach. Why we got to go over all these people? You know, and if this guy was in violation, he should have fined him. He should have had a permit.
Well, we didn't have anything in place for that to happen. That's what this would do.
Yeah, we can't.
We can't find it, we can't do anything.
What's gonna happen when I go down there and clear an acre of my land, which I'm a landowner, really not concerned, and I'm gonna clear a land, I'm gonna plant an acre out there. Y'all don't tell me I can't plant.
No.
It is a development, I'm developing a crop.
Sure. So we would put an agricultural exemption in there. So anything agriculture related would be exempt.
Let me point out what happened. The last council meeting, we discussed this. 2 days after that, we were made aware of some work being done down here on 63.
I had an idea that's the reason I asked it. I don't know why I knew that's where that come from.
Let me explain.
I had a different example. Let me have an example on 62 down here, Wind Creek Road, Wind Creek Park.
What happened down here on 63, there was no 811 done. Within feet of a 30-inch outfall line from Sugar Creek, a culvert was placed and heavy equipment was run across it. The potential was if they had moved one way 10 or 15 feet with that culvert, they would have been on top of that 30-inch outfall line, which is a ductile iron line.
You may tell me the city didn't know that was already there. before they started construction.
We knew it.
Why didn't we mark it? I mean, why didn't somebody call 811, say, this is water line,
Well,
this is power line?
They didn't call 811, that's the problem. Whereas had they done this permit process and it was commercial, then we would go down and locate it for them and keep this map and keep our infrastructure. But what happened with the potential here was a catastrophic SSO. If that 30-inch outfall line had been collapsed, it more likely would have shut 63 down to wash the road out. And then ADM was gonna be on us for not doing what they thought we should do by making sure these people knew where that line was. So if we have a permitting process at no cost, where we can protect our infrastructure, that's the primary thing I'm seeing, is where we protect our infrastructure. If you wanna do something, especially like a commercial project, then we go down there, we look at it, we mark the line.
Marketing.
Yeah. And
I
then,
understand for,
and then we're protected.
So-
But that could have been a disaster.
So Jimmy, we're able to regulate things that,
We regulate too much is my point. We got 3 regulation agencies right here, and look at the other. Are we gonna add one on top of that? And are we gonna come along in 6 months from now and appeal this and charge for the permit?
well, that would require council action.
I understand that, but it could happen very easily.
I understand for development and, commercial, I understand that, I think it's needed wholeheartedly. My problem is with the size of an acre, if you're increasing that size, and also you're adding exemptions for, other types of projects. I think that's a good idea there. And I'd like to say that you move back to city limits only. So I thank you for that work. I appreciate it.
Well, since the intent is to protect utilities, and we're definitely all on board with that. And I think we mentioned this would be more a job for Larkin. So where, we mentioned, so we can make the wording in the ordinance to where if somebody does not apply for this permit and there's damages to the city utility, which is what we're looking for, they don't like this, then they will assume the costs of any damages to the line. Whereas right now, we don't have anything to hold, and we wouldn't have a great way to enforce it. So if we can do the wording in the ordinance to incentivize somebody who, and may be doing something near a utility, then they can call and ask. If we can incentivize it to where, if somebody don't get it, they're responsible for any damages that's written into this, whether it's excessive fill over a buried line. So they go in and grade and cover a sewer line, because that's what we work on the most in the water line, that's covered up by 15 or 20 feet of dirt, and that line needs work. We'll have to dig down 15 feet versus the normal 6 or 8, and I know it varies. The responsibility would fall on the landowner, because they didn't go through this process to find out if that, I don't know, just in the wording to incentivize it where it has meat, so we're not forced, people who have land like me and Jimmy and all, we're not forced to do it. But if we don't go through something as simple as filling the permit out, and we damage a city utility, well then we're liable for that. Does that make sense? To kind of capture the stuff that's maybe not be commercial on the front end, the intent may be commercial, but to keep from skating past, that's right, to keep from playing system, which is all we're trying, that's your intent, is trying to skirt that. So I think if we can incentivize it to where everybody that's in here tonight that's interested in this, they're not forced to do it. But it would, make it to where if you don't, if you damage something, you're assuming all the liability for your actions. Is that? I don't know, that would be a lawyer to come up with the word.
Pretty much is that way now. If they come in and they do not do a locate, and they damage our utility, they have to pay for it. That's the current policy.
But, I don't know, I'm just trying to figure out a way to help to incentivize it versus you got to force, private property, enforcement, infringing upon private property. I know that definitely making it larger, disturbance helps a ton, and I'm glad you put that in there. And get rid of the PJ.
I guess, for me, I'd just like to see a revised version so we can get it out to the people who is in our ear, and that way we say, hey, what do you think about this? 2, I wondered, is this something we could pass and just say, hey, like property talking about, just have something set in place that if we see that happening, that there's just an ordinance passed that we can stop that until y'all go in and locate. I'd rather be able to stop somebody than let them come and ask for permission. But if you see that, because if Eric's cleaning up property off some of his and there's no city utilities around there, then, you know, the city's not gonna be worried about that. But it's the people like that, the other instance you're talking about, that y'all see that y'all have some need to stop them and you come in and see what their plans are. If that makes sense.
So this is the way to get that meet. That's
But then
exactly.
you make everybody come in, and that's, if Eric's cleaning off his property, he shouldn't have to come in if there's no city utilities around. But you're gonna force him to come in before he does anything. So it affects the people who it really doesn't affect.
Sure, let us get you the revision and see if we've successfully tried to get, you know, that's what we're trying to do, is to write this to admit to people that we don't want to affect. So that's what we're trying to do, so that if Eric's clearing off his land, he won't have to come before he gets used agriculture or, you know, above or below a certain amount of acreage.
No, we appreciate you, you know, reaching out to us for the ideas now, because that's the best way to, like,
We definitely
We
need the
definitely
volume
hear.
growth that we have, and the bigger projects, we definitely need it. I'm not saying we don't.
It seems that about 4 times it's come up in the last 6 months or so, where this was for
Mhm.
I think we can get it to where we're catching the people that need to be called without hindering everybody else along the way. There's only a handful of people that don't do right, just about everybody else basically does what's asked.
So we
Yeah.
appreciate the work.
Yes.
And you guys look for, probably early next week.
That'll be great. Thank you, Drew. We appreciate you. We have an executive session that we're supposed to go into for this meeting, but it will take 15 minutes.
10, 15.
Our council meeting starts at 4, so can you wait till we get through the council meeting and do it?
Starts.
In 4 minutes, our council meeting starts at 5:30, it's 5:26, sir.
I can try if we can get everybody out of the room here.
All right, if you all, at this time, the council needs to go into an executive session to discuss potential litigation. We will reconvene the work session in approximately 4 minutes.